Hey there, everybody. Chad Weber here from MortgageAdsClub.com, and I'd like to welcome you to video number 3, where we're going to discuss secret lead sources. Now, it's been a wild ride for the past couple of videos already, and I hope that you've found tremendous value from what we've demonstrated as far as how to create a lead engine. In other words, traffic sources that drive potential borrowers straight into your waiting hands. Now, in today's video, it's going to be a little bit different in that I only have a couple of slides because we're going to do everything live on the web. This is the video where I actually show you sources of traffic that you probably don't even know exist. In fact, I'll stake my entire reputation on this. I would be willing to bet 99% of loan officers, and maybe even more than that, aren't even aware of these tools. Okay, so this isn't Google, this isn't Facebook, this isn't even YouTube, even though we've covered those sources in the previous videos, and they're fantastic, amazing, and powerful sources. I'm going to show you sources that no one else is using, so your competition is going to be next to zero. Do you remember this particular screenshot or slide from video number 1 where we talked about the most annoying aspect of being a loan officer, or at least according to most loan officers, is lead generation? Most loan officers are absolutely annoyed, irritated, frustrated with the process of generating leads, finding borrowers. But the reality of the matter is, folks, that being a loan officer is you are a salesperson and a marketer first, and a loan officer second, because that's how the process works. You don't find the clients and then start marketing and selling. No, the process is you have to market first to find the prospects before you can even begin selling. And then you have to sell before you can even think of taking an application and processing and finding them a loan, right? That's the way it works. So you are a marketer first and foremost. That's the first major task of being a loan officer. So I hope that the Facebook strategies or the Facebook tips and techniques that I've taught you, and I hope that introducing you to the ability to utilize video in YouTube to actually run ads on your competitors' videos, I hope that this has already given you a glimmer of hope as far as, hey, maybe lead generation isn't so difficult after all. Maybe I just need to know the right approach. Maybe I just need the right tools in order to aim and focus better. So I bring this up because I'm about to introduce you to a concept that's even more mind-blowing than what we've already talked about in the previous 2 videos. Okay, so watch this. What everyone else seems to have forgotten. When we talk about Google and we talk about Yahoo, Bing, we talk about YouTube and these types of tools and search engines and all this great stuff, the one thing that everyone seems to have either forgotten or completely ignored is the fact that you don't need any of those tools. You don't need search engines. Search engines wouldn't even exist if there weren't websites, right? Because that's what a search engine searches for, is websites and web pages. So that may sound like an odd comment or statement to make, but bear with me here. I'm about to blow your mind here in just a moment. But first, before we get to that, let's look at the current state of the internet and of the web. Now, back just 2 years ago, because we're in 2016 now, but back in 2014, the web finally surpassed 1 billion websites. Now, when I say websites, I mean sites, not pages. That's actual websites, domain names, URLs. But when you include all the pages that are attached to those websites, there are more than 1 trillion pages on the web. In fact, that 1 trillion number was surpassed years and years and years ago. We're talking 5, 6, 7 years ago. So who knows where we're at now? I've been looking for more recent statistics, but if I had to guesstimate, we're probably at 1.25 to 1.33 a trillion web pages, because it's just growing so rapidly. Now, this is particularly interesting when you look at the fact that there were only 3,000 websites on the internet back in 1994. That's 33 million% growth in just 20 years. And that's mind-blowing. When you look at other tools such as radio and television and all these other what they call killer applications that completely changed civilization as we know it, the web has grown and broken all those records. It's grown more rapidly and more explosively than all those other tools. In fact, just Google by itself now registers and handles over 45,000 internet searches per second. That's 45,000 times per second that people are searching for things on Google. Let's take a look at this. And yes, this is relevant to what we're about to discuss here, but I just want you to see, look at this. This is actually a live counter just today. Now, it's 12:20 Central Time, what I'm looking at now. And look at how many searches Google is processing. This is a live look at how quickly. So we're already at 2.3 billion Google searches today. Just today. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's over 1.2 trillion searches per year. And actually, those statistics are from 2013. So here, 3 years later, we tend to grow at about 7 to 10% a year as far as the web. So our numbers have substantially exceeded this already. But this just blows my mind whenever I see this. And we can also look at internet users by country. We can look at the United States, 279 million, almost 280 million. And this was back in 2014. So to about 280 million regular users in a country with a population of 322 million. How can you afford not to be on the web? Why do I bring this up, folks? Why do I bring this up? Now, here's the part that gets mind-blowing. I bring this up because most people and even most trainers are teaching you to use only the tools such as Google, like AdWords, and then the other search engines, and even Facebook, social media, their ads platforms. And those are all powerful and wonderful, and we should all be using them, as well as YouTube. But the one thing where there seems to be a huge gaping hole is nobody's teaching loan officers how to use websites. No, not your own website, but how to run ads using other people's websites. Not Google, not Facebook, not YouTube, none of those. But we can actually go directly to other individuals' websites, specifically when we identify websites that would appeal to home buyers, home sellers, refinancers, FHA, VA, getting very, very specific as to what individuals are looking for and what people are most likely going to need your services as a loan officer. Websites that people already like going to. What if you could make sure that your ads, your message, your services are showing to those individuals? That's why it's so important that you realize just how big the web is, because bigger than Google, bigger than YouTube, bigger than Facebook is the web itself. Having the ability to say, hey, you know what? I can have my ad appearing on any of those websites at the drop of a hat, just like that. That's what I'm going to show you here today. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to some really cool new tools that'll help you make this a reality. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head right on over to one of these websites right now. Okay, so let's forget about slides and let's get straight to making things happen. All right, it's 2016. It's time for you to make things happen. Time to get traction. So let's go to a website right now. This is a website called BuySellAds.com. Now, in this particular instance, you are not a publisher. You are an advertiser, meaning you have a message that you wish to advertise. So I'm going to click over here to get started. And now I'm going to take a look. I'm going to scroll down here and see what they allow you to do. They allow you to create display ads. They allow you to be a sponsored content provider. So that's a sponsored content provider is, for example, let's say you saw a great article on Entrepreneur Magazine or Inc. Magazine or Success Magazine, and you click to go view that article, and then a little window pops up before you get to that actual page saying, hey, this article was made possible by... Okay, so that person actually has to see that content and X out of it. Now you may think, well, you know what, I find that annoying. But what about, and that's true, most people will find it annoying, except for the people who need those services right here, right now. If you happen to be shopping for a home and you're not finding that home, you're having trouble finding a home, and that ad just so happens to pop up and be about how to find the right home when you can't seem to find the right home, you're actually going to click on it. You're actually going to be thankful that you ran across it, right? That's how these types of ads work. So we have to stop thinking about it from just a random web browser or web user standpoint and start thinking about it from the, hey, what if I could get this message in front of targeted people that actually need those services? And then there's custom ways to advertise and market as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click here to start a campaign. And one of the most important things about using a tool such as Buy Sell Ads is the ability to target. So BuySellAds.com is actually a website that brings individuals who have big and popular websites together with individuals who wish to market on those websites. So we have the ability to come over here and say, okay, what types of people would I like to see my message? What categories? And I'm going to browse and see what website owners are actually selling ad space on their website. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at a couple of these categories. Weddings, all right? People that are about to get married. Oftentimes when you're starting a family, you know, they got that starter home or they might be in an apartment and now they're thinking, hey, you know what? We're going to be having a kid soon, so now it's time to scale up, right? So I'm going to take a look at that. Let's see, what else do I have here? Home and architecture. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. I got business and finance. And I could just go through here and take a look at what categories might be ideal. But I'm just going to stick with these three to start. So I'm starting off with weddings here. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's start off down here. Wedding Lovely blog. Now this is a really small one. Only has 33,000 page views per month. So that may sound large to, you know, that may sound large to your average loan officer, but that's actually pretty, in the grand scheme of things, that's a very, very small website because it's niche and targeted. So I open that up in a new tab and look at what we do here. So we can actually take a look and see that Wedding Lovely blog. If I want, I can actually go and open up and view their blog firsthand first, just to make sure this is something that I would actually want to advertise on. So I can see that they have 5,657 followers on Twitter and they have 35,000 monthly impressions. Now an impression is when a person actually sees a page, when that page is loaded. And then down here I can see what they charge to run ads. So I can run a small 125 by 125 pixel ad that will get roughly 35,000 impressions for $20 over a 30-day period. So that $20 will run that ad and show that ad for a full 30 days. Or if I want a larger ad, because 125 by 125 is small, I can run a 300 by 120 for $49 a month. Or if I want a large sidebar image, that's a 300 by 250. 300 by 250 is going to be roughly about this size that you see here. This is about a 300 by 250 size box, give or take a couple pixels. That would cost me $75 for 30 days. See how easy this is? There's no complicated dashboards or nothing really new to learn here outside of, if I want to buy this ad space, all I have to do is make sure I get my graphic image that meets this size criteria sent over to this web owner, pay my $49 a month, $20 a month, or $75 a month, depending on what size I want, and boom, that's it. For the next 30 days, my ad's going to be run, and when people click on that ad, I tell the website owner what page on my website I want them to end up on. Boom, we're done. It's that simple. Now, there's more to it as far as deciding if this is a place I want to advertise. Obviously, right now, all I'm showing you is the process. Let's take a look at a larger website. Because let's say, you know what, that is a pretty small website. Here's one that gets 86,000 monthly views. This one here, this is more of what I'm looking for, about 297,000 impressions a month. So that's a much larger website. So I'm going to open that up here. And I could see that, yeah, 295,000 impressions. So they charge $3 per 1,000 impressions. So I can actually buy the exact amount of impressions or views that I want. So this isn't pay per click, folks. This is pay for impressions, pay for views. There's no guaranteed performance outside of, we know how many people are going to see the ad, but we don't know how many of them are going to click on it. But that's just fine if you have a really good offer, right? And the fact that we can buy and test without spending a lot of money. So I could come along here and say, you know what, I'm going to buy 10,000 impressions. That's only going to cost me $30. I'm going to tweak, I'm going to test my results and see. I'm not going to buy a full 295,000 impressions until I know that I have an offer that converts. So it allows you to spend very tiny increments of money to figure out what's going to work. Or up here, I want to buy a sidebar small square image for $25. In that space, the site tells me that I can expect about 60,000 impressions and so forth. See how that works? So I can just come up here and buy 30 days, $55 for 30 days and 60,000 impressions. Or if I want a large 300 by 600, now that's a huge ad, a 300 by 600 pixel ad for $275 for the full month, and I'm going to get roughly 60,000 views to it. Okay, so that's weddings though. That's that particular category. But let's move on to some other categories here. So here's the home and architecture categories. And check this out, Home Talk, 7.7 million monthly views. This is a very, very popular website. Fresh Home, 2.5 million views. Home Bunch, 495,000 monthly, and so forth. So I can go along here and do the same thing with any of these. So they charge $6 per 1,000 impressions for a 300 by 250. Now that's going to be a center spaced ad. Now we got, or if I want to go mobile instead of just desktop, I can run mobile ads for $5 per 1,000. Or I can even pay them to do an email blast to 500,000 subscribers for $600. So let's talk about this, folks. The idea here is that generally speaking, I don't want to just take a look at these prices and say, oh, you know what, this is on the topic of homes, let's go ahead and run ads, let's go ahead and start spending money. No, not a chance. Instead, the first thing that I do is I click this button over here to ask a question because I want to know what their demographics look like. Now, most of these website owners are going to be able to answer you and tell you how many individuals in which states and cities they have. You know, where is the bulk of their views coming from? Because unless I'm a loan officer that can do business in a whole lot of areas and multiple states all over the U.S., I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot if all I'm doing is marketing to the entire United States. I don't want to do that. I only want to market on blogs and on websites that have a lot of traffic in my area. Now, I'm only using this as an example. There are other websites out there I can go to and even get run ads just on websites that are dedicated to my city and to my state. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to use something like this, because oftentimes many of these websites do have 7.71 million impressions per month. Oftentimes, tens of thousands of those, or even hundreds of thousands of those impressions are going to come from my city and state. But I can only find out by clicking here to ask a question. So the first thing I do before I spend a dime is I ask questions and get in touch with the owner so that I can learn more about how many impressions or how many viewers and followers do they have in the areas that I originate in. Because I don't want to waste my money. Unless I'm a nationally chartered banking institution, right? Or unless I can do business in so many different states that it doesn't really matter as much. But still, I want to speak to the website owner. Okay, so I need more performance metrics. So that's the first thing I do. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at their business and finance marketplace. So look at these. This website here, 80 million monthly views, 29 million, 23 million. So now we're getting into some real behemoth of websites here. For Traders, CoinDesk, SnapMonk, Social Media Today, QuickZ, Wickedfire, etc., etc., etc. So I can actually come up here if I'm not finding what I'm looking for, and I can do keyword searches such as real estate and whatnot. But in the grand scheme of things, buy-sell ads marketplace is pretty small. So there are other websites I can go to where I have access to tens of thousands of websites. But I like to start easy and simple. So we want to keep this simple. And that's why I'm showing you the more simpler methods to get familiar with the process of contacting website owners and finding out what it's going to cost to run ads on their websites. So was I right? How many of you guys are familiar with this tool? I'm guessing 99% of you are saying I was not, and that's a good thing. I like introducing you to fresh new ideas and tools. But now we're going to take a step up to something that's very, very local. Okay, so now what I've done is I've head on over to a website called Xtargeting. Now, what Xtargeting allows me to do is actually to go in and set up either pay per click or pay for per view. I can do either style campaigns and specifically target and show my ads to individuals who are looking for specific keywords on specific types of websites who live within specific cities. So do you see the pattern here? We're going for a specificity here. So this is a little more complicated of a dashboard, but not by much. It's still very simple to use, very easy, and you're probably going to learn it within about 10 to 15 minutes. So this is about as easy as it gets next to buy sell ads. So let's go through that process now. Again, it's xtargeting.com is the name of the website. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click to create a new campaign. It's going to ask you to set up a campaign name. So I'm going to put this one as 2016 Mortgage St. Louis. So now I need to tell the system what type of a campaign would I like. CPC stands for cost per click. So that's pay per click. I only pay when individuals click on my ads. That's pay for performance. Here I can just run a graphical ad. Here I can run a full page pop under. Now a pop under ad, just so you know, is when somebody just specifically goes to a URL or to a website. Instead of a pop-up, an ad, in this case your ad, is going to pop under that particular window. So it doesn't obscure anything that they're viewing or looking at or annoy them, but when they close out of that window, when they leave that site in that window, that's when they see your ad. Now, you may be wondering, well, what's the point of that? Well, number one, it's that you're not going to annoy them. But number two, the cool thing is oftentimes these campaigns specifically allow you to tell the system when and what domain names you want people to be going to when your ad pops under. So in other words, I could say, hey, anytime somebody goes to realtor.com or goes to Zillow or Trulia or to specific web pages, meaning I know that they're really interested, I want my ad to show up. So those people are highly targeted, aren't they? Because I can also tell the system what cities those individuals should be in as well. So I know, hey, that's somebody in St. Louis. If I'm a St. Louis loan officer, that's somebody in St. Louis going to realtor.com or going to bankrate.com or LendingTree or something that would identify them as looking for a mortgage or soon needing my services. Now, a full page, this is a interstitial ad. So this is, again, we'll cover this later. This is getting into some more advanced topics here, but this is more integrated style ads, what we like to call native advertising. It's a really cool concept and really performing very well, but I don't want to have your eyes rolling up in the back of your head here today by covering too much. So I'm going to do a text graphic CPC style ad. I need to tell the system where my ads or where individuals should go. When they click on my content, right? My daily limit. Okay, no repeated IP visitors. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. I'm going to click no on accepting adult traffic, obviously, but this is just a demo for the moment. So I could do my graphic banners, text style, or both text and graphic. Just for the sake of simplicity right now, I'm going to do text. Now we're going to do our keyword targeting. Here's the fun part. So I could do keywords such as mortgage loans, home loans, buy a home, refinance, debt consolidation, improve my credit, mortgage rates, FHA loans, and so forth. I could just put whatever target keywords I want before people see my ads. So I'm going to add those to my list here. And now I have the opportunity to bid on them. So right now it says my maximum bid is a quarter, 25 cents cost per click. Now I can bump that down if I want to. I can even bump that down to 10 cents cost per click. Down here we have our match where it says broad. Now what broad matching is, so let's say for example I put, let's say improve my credit or mortgage loans. A broad match means that that it's going to show my ad even if somebody's searching for a variant of mortgage loans. It's not strict. It's not just that exact phrase. So it could be, the word mortgage could be in there, but and loans could show up 4 or 5 words later. It's just, hey, it's in the same paragraph, so we have a broad match here. But if I want to change that to exact match, which I just click on that drop-down box, Now I've told the system to please only show my ad specifically when someone has typed out mortgage loans exactly as it appears here. Okay, so now I'm going to skip to my next step. Now it's going to show me the channels that I can advertise on. Now each one of these is a very broad channel, but as you can see, if I click on this little plus sign, it's going to bump that down. And for example, right here, okay, here's the real estate topic. Okay, we got general, we got health, we got home. So I'm going to click home. I want home style topics, even home repair. People really care about their houses, and maybe if they're furniture shopping or interior decorating and whatnot, that still might be a good place for me to run my ads. And money and finance, here we go. So now look at what we got here. We got loans and banking right here, boom. We got money and finance, boom, and credit services, boom. So I've just told the system where I want my ads to appear. Again, take the time to go through and look at every one of these major channels, because just because a website itself isn't about mortgage loans, if it's even on a topic that's fairly related or similar or indicates somebody who might be looking to take action soon, it's still probably worth your time to run the ads there, or at least for a test. So now I can save and go to my next step. Now, here's where we tell the system our geo-targeting. Right here, it's saying country target. I'm going to skip that and pop over here to this radio button, city target. So I'm going to put out St. Louis. There we go, St. Louis, Missouri. And I told the system to please suggest neighborhood cities selected within 20 miles. So I can just keep adding these over here, boom, boom, boom. And just go down, okay, I'm going to do St. Charles, I'm going to do Maryland Heights, okay, I'm going to do Fenton, and so forth. If I want, I can bump this up to maybe 30 miles if I'm not finding enough. And I can flesh this out as much as I want, folks. So, as you can see, I'm very, very targeted here. And as I keep going, I still have language targeting and time targeting, meaning specific times of the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and save what I have here for the time being. I probably have, I don't know, about 2.5 to 3 million people living in the cities that I've already selected. So I'm going to do all languages, or I can do English only. Add that, save and go next. And now what it's going to do is give me my time scheduling. So this is what we call day parting, where I can go in and select certain periods of the time that I want it to run on certain days. I like this because I don't have to turn on and turn off and pause manually like I do on Facebook. Instead, I go to each day, and if I want my ad to run on this day, I select it. And then it's automatically checked for 24 hours. But if I say, hey, you know what? I know there's a slow period from 3, 4, 5, and 6, then I just unselect those, and now I've told the system to run it all these times, but please to shut off from 3 to 6, and then turn back on from 7 o'clock and run it through 2 p.m. So I can even select certain days not to run my ads. So if I know Mondays don't perform well for me, then I can come in here and go, okay, well, Tuesdays and Thursdays do, Fridays not so much, Saturdays are fairly decent, and Sundays are excellent. So now you can see I've custom selected exactly when I want my ads to run. And I save, boom, I'm ready to go. What I like about websites such as X-Targeting is that you only have to put $50 in your account. So before you start running your campaign, you do have to fund it with $50. And so they're giving you, or telling you, hey, we want you to spend a minimum of $50 with us before we start deploying all these campaigns that you're setting up. But I can go in and play around with it first. I have not put any money into it yet at this stage. I just set it up, and then once I got all my all my campaign saved, then I can go in and fund it to turn my campaign on. But they will not allow you to turn your campaign on until you put that $50 in there. But that's a very, very tiny amount of money to run to get in front of potentially entire cities or even entire states worth of individuals, isn't it? So I really like the flexibility and the local nature of running these ads. All right, so do you see how we've expanded our potential output between buy-sell ads and X-targeting? Now you have that capability to specifically go in and reach individuals, not just people on Google, not just people on Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, or Facebook. These are resources and tools that most of your competitors are not using. Pretty exciting stuff, huh? So I hope that I've opened your eyes to the potential and to some new tools and new ways to market yourself. Because the bottom line is most loan officers are not using tools like this. They're not taking the time to learn them, and they're not being creative with their advertising. And instead, they're just looking at what everyone else is doing and thinking, okay, well, if everybody else is doing it, then that must mean it's working. But unfortunately, that is flawed logic, folks, because that would make the assumption that every other loan officer but you is excelling and making a boatload of cash, if that's what your goal is. When the fact of the matter is the bulk of loan officers are very unhappy with their income and earning far less than they think they should be. So let's not do what everyone else is doing and bark up the same tree. Let's get creative. So let's recap what we've covered here. BuySellAds.com, xtargeting.com, so that's another website. And you'll see here that I've listed a third website, SimilarWeb.com. Let me show you why I've listed this website. And we're going to take just a quick jump back here to our BuySellAds.com, and let's use HomeTalk.com as our example. Let's say that you were looking at this and you said, you know what, I'm thinking about advertising here, and I've clicked to ask them a question, and they've told me their basic demographics, but I want to check up on it and make sure these guys are being honest with me, and I want to see what else I can learn about their website. So I'm just actually going to go to their website, HomeTalk.com. Okay, so this is a lot of do-it-yourselfers. Okay, so great. So I'm going to go to the website SimilarWeb.com. Now at SimilarWeb.com, I have the opportunity to input a URL right here on the front page. So I put that HomeTalk.com, and I'm going to research them. So what SimilarWeb is going to show me is how well these individuals rank. So they're 2,205th website in the entire country of the US and the 10,000th all across the web. So that's actually a pretty darn successful website. But let's keep going here. So I'm going to find out the average individual. So they're getting 3.2 million unique visits per month. So if you see any sort of a discrepancy between the numbers claimed at BuySellAds.com and what you see here, it's because there's a difference between just impressions and views versus unique users. Unique users is, each one is a unique person. But one person could go back to that website or view 20, 30, 40 times in a single month, right? So just views don't necessarily mean unique individuals. The average person spends 3 minutes and 43 seconds on the website and views 3.1 pages. Okay, so I keep scrolling down here. 84% of their traffic comes from within the United States, even though they do get traffic from all over the planet, but 84% of it's from the US. 31% of the people go directly to the website. 57% of them find it through social and so forth. So I could take a look at that. And I could take a look at who is referring traffic to them. So we got BuzzFeed, Makezine, etc., PopSugar. And then where do individuals tend to go after they leave the website? Pinterest, Facebook, Makezine, and so forth. Okay, I can see how much of their traffic's coming from search and what keywords are people looking for to get there. That's key because that tells me if I'm finding individuals that are searching for mortgage or real estate related topics as well. So I like that. If they're spending money on display ads or not. And then what are individuals interested in that go to this website? So I can see what are people searching for and what traffics are they, or what articles and topics are they clicking on when they're at the website. So all of these things can come in very, very handy, but here's the real reason for using this website is it also will show me other websites similar to HomeTalk.com. Now, I told you that you only have a small quantity of websites to choose from over at Buy Sell Ads, right? So let's say you think to yourself, well, you know what, I like this HomeTalk.com, but I sure wish there were other sites just like this that I could advertise on. Bingo, right here. Right here, SimilarWeb, I could take a look. Okay, we got HouseTrends.com, HomeDzine, Networks, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So I can go to these websites as well And oftentimes, these websites will also tell you down in their footer if they allow advertising on their website. Before I bother going to those websites, I'll open them up here in SimilarWeb, just take a look at how much traffic they get to make sure it's going to be worth my time and make sure that that traffic is predominantly in the United States. Okay, so on this particular website, only 24% of their traffic's in the US, so I'm not even going to bother with it. I'm not even going to contact them. However, Home Trends might be a completely different story. But do you see the process? We use the SimilarWeb.com to kind of keep the websites honest, but also because I need to know where their traffic's coming from, as well as I need to find other competing sites, so that way I'm never putting all my eggs in one basket. All right. So there you have it, folks. A very simple process. But now you have the entire web to choose from, to pick from. When you see that you have all these tools that allow you to run ads and start targeting individuals. In this case, folks, take a look at websites that are right here in your own hometown, in your own community, and take a look in their footers. Oftentimes they will tell you if they allow ads to be run on the website. Contact them. And in many cases, you can even negotiate for cheap ad placement as a test. Free traffic, folks, as a test. Many of them will throw a couple hundred clicks or views your way just so you can see what to expect from the traffic. Not all of them, but many of them will say yes. But you got to ask, okay? So the most important thing here, folks, is don't get distracted by huge numbers. Oh, wow, 10 million views a month. Don't get distracted by that. Doesn't matter if those 10 million views are all coming from Canada, for example, and you're in the US, or if you're in Canada and all those views are coming in the US, right? So let's focus on targeted local exposure, unless, of course, you are an individual that can do business in a lot of areas. So I hope that you found this beneficial, but I want to talk about something else here real quick, folks. We're coming up really quickly to our launch date for MortgageAdsClub.com. Now, I've been deploying these videos with lots of great training and tips and resources so that you can start expanding your knowledge on the topic of online marketing and lead generation. And I can't really tell you what MortgageAdsClub.com is all about just yet, but I can offer you a couple little hints. So I'm going to drop you a couple of hints here, folks, in that Mortgage Ads Club. Imagine what would it do for your business if you had the capability to see exactly what ads were performing well, what ads were working, what campaigns were working on the web right here, right now. What would that do for your business? No guesswork. No, absolutely. What's working, not just on Facebook, but on the web in general. And you could see the landing pages, see the ads. What would that do for your business? That's all I'm going to say. However, we will be deploying Mortgage Ads Club in just a couple days. In just a couple days, folks. In the meantime, I want you to join me if you haven't already. Facebook.com/loanmarketingchad. That's Facebook.com/loanmarketingchad. And head on over to MortgageAdsClub.com right now and get on our early birds list if you're not already there, folks, because we are deploying it in just a couple days. It's super exciting. You're going to love it. You're going to benefit from it. And if you like what you're learning here, just wait till you see what we're teaching you within MortgageAdsClub.com itself. All right, folks, I will see you in our next video. Make it a great day. Go check out the websites that I talked about today, X-Targeting, Buy-Sell Ads, and SimilarWeb.com, just to have a glance and familiarize yourself with these processes, because this opens up a whole new world of marketing to you. I'll see you next time, folks. Make it a great one.